Well, there's a definite chill in the air and the leaves are changing colors, and that can only mean one thing: it's fall. So it's time to grab your favorite sweater and your awesome tweed tie and get out there. And if this were a fashion show, I'm sure we would go into the intricate details of tweeds and cardigans, but this is not. We're here to talk about something far more tasty than your favorite duds, and that is beer. Not just any beer. A beer as American as apple pie, the internet, the McRib, the Cincinnati Bengals, and Al Gore. And not just beer like you know it, but a beer that encompasses the most iconic fruit of the season, the pumpkin. Yeah, okay, well, enough about the pumpkin. Let's get started. So our first beer up today is gonna be Sam Adams Harvest Pumpkin Ale. This is from the Boston Beer Company, better known as Samuel Adams, out of Massachusetts. So let's give this one a try, see what we think here. Let's see how it goes. Here we go. You know, some definite pumpkin tasting in this one. What I taste initially is not pumpkin like you would expect, kind of an artificial pumpkin flavoring. And that's the problem with with pumpkin beers. If you went back to the 1800s when they first came about, it was a beer that was made from pumpkin. Today what we end up with is a beer that is more of a pumpkin pie in a bottle as opposed to pumpkin in a bottle. So you get a lot of spice and a lot of extra stuff that weren't there in the original beers of the 1800s. So the Boston Beer Company has done a great job, but not overpowering like some of the pumpkin beers I've tasted in the past have been. But this one does just have a little bit of an artificial pumpkin flavoring to it. And it definitely has a lot of spice to it. All right, next up is gonna be Southampton from the Southampton Publick House in New York. Pumpkin ale here. Here we go, let's give this one a go. Once again, a little bit of the kind of artificial pumpkin flavoring. Definitely not as spicy, more just kind of plain pumpkin that hits you right away, but doesn't linger too long at all. But the bottle does say that there's spices and vanilla extract, but they're definitely fairly muted in this beer. And then next up, right here, the Chunks Pumpkin Ale from the Battered Boar, right here in Oklahoma City. Not that that's where we are. Ah! Look at that. Now that's a beer right there. I think about half of it's out on the table. Un momento, we're gonna let this kind of simmer down now. Wow, okay. I'm gonna let it tame for a second. While this is, I'll tell you a little bit about it. This is proudly brewed in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. This is from the Battered Brewing Company. Beer brewed with pecans, pumpkin, and spices. And I got a little bit of a head because this one's got a little bit of a bottle conditioning issue potentially. So let's give it a go here. Yeah. I can see why pecan is the first thing on the label, because the definite thing is that you get hit with that nutty pecan flavor right away. There's definitely is some pumpkin flavor and some spice. I would say the pumpkin is fairly muted, or it's overtaken by the pecan, but definitely a tasty beer if you like pecan and you're not looking for something super strong in the neighborhood of pumpkin flavoring. Okay, next up from the Lakefront Brewery Incorporated in Milwaukee is their pumpkin lager. Scared now. Oh no, we're good, we're good. This is definitely the most even tasting one so far. Not overpowering in pumpkin, not overpowering in spice, just a good little taste of the fall season in the bottle, but nothing that's gonna be, you know, making you feel like that you're eating a pumpkin pie out of this one. And then last is the Shipyard Brewing Co., their Pumpkinhead. This is out of Maine. I don't know if it's necessarily fair that this one went last. This is a Pumpkinhead. I mean, they nailed it right here. This beer, the pumpkin hits you right at the beginning, and it's definitely pumpkin flavored. Not a whole lot of spice at all. A very, very pumpkin beer. Probably something fairly close to not what there was in the 1800s, but less that pumpkin pie and a glass flavoring, and just a beer that has a good, real tasting pumpkin flavor to it. So definitely a really good beer. I do highly recommend that one. Well, there you go. That's the selection of pumpkin beers that we have for you today. Obviously, as much as I would love to try all 400 plus that there are available, I don't think I can handle it, and they're obviously all not available in my area. So in the comments below, point out what beer you like out of the selection we have here, or maybe one that I missed. Tell us about it below.